Hi, thanks so much. I brought my daughter Antonia here with me. Last year, Rolling Stone magazine called me America's fiercest climate blogger. I wasn't always fierce. I used to be a mild-mannered scientist and clean energy advocate, working over on Independence Avenue for the U.S. Department of Energy. And for a long time, I didn't see that we are in a street fight to preserve clean air and clean water and a livable climate for our children. For years, I was content to calmly help businesses cut pollution, adopt wind and solar power, promote hybrid and electric cars. But global warming pollution just kept going straight up. Then Hurricane Katrina hit, and my brother lost his Mississippi home in a ferocious storm surge. A 20-foot wall of water flooded into his house, turning it into a giant washing machine, ruining everything in it. Afterwards, he came to me for advice. Should he try to rebuild his life there, or should he leave? So I started talking to climate scientists, like Jim Hansen over there. They made me see global warming was a much bigger deal than I realized. A BFD, as Joe Biden would say. I learned global warming means local storming. Global warming makes storms like Katrina more fierce. From Nashville and North Carolina to Russia and Pakistan, global warming set the stage for those local superstorms. And you can imagine how much it's going to get worse when we get these extreme weather events and it's 9 degrees Fahrenheit warmer at the end of the century. The old media is not telling this story. Time magazine actually wrote a cover story for its foreign editions on the devastation in Pakistan. They even borrowed my book title, Hell and High Water, but they cut out any mention of climate change and they removed the story entirely from the U.S. edition of Time magazine. The old media is failing us. And that's why I joined the new media at the Center for American Progress and started Climate Progress to join the fight. And make no mistake, we are in a fight with extremists who want a very different world than we do. Even the prestigious journal Nature called it a street fight. Just 100 miles from here in Richmond, Virginia, Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli is trying to criminalize climate science and force UVA to release Michael Mann's emails. And what crime did Dr. Mann commit? He used the word community in an email and a blog. It's unbelievable. That's what Tea Party extremists like Cuccinelli want to do. They want to intimidate the community of climate scientists who are trying to inform the public of the dangers of global warming pollution. And Tea Party extremists, backed by big oil, are poised to fill the Senate next month with climate zombies who not only oppose clean energy and clean air and clean water, but they attack science, the very science of climate change. And the pundits say the House of Representatives will be taken over by pro-pollution extremists who plan to launch investigations aimed at harassing climate scientists like Dr. Mann and Dr. Hansen. And how does the media cover this return to the dark ages? The Politico, which is sort of the inside the Beltway newspaper, their headline on that article was "Global Warming Critic Plots Revenge." Global warming critic plots revenge, seriously. The media doesn't care about science or future generations, it only cares who's up and who's down. To them, it's perfectly natural for Republicans to exact revenge on those who dared to try to pass even the most modest clean energy bill to fight global warming. So far, the president has refused to engage in this fight. That's because his advisors think this is not a winning issue. His advisors don't think people like you count. His advisors are just scared of the Tea Party activists. Well, it's time for us to show up and explain to them and show them that our vote counts just as much as the Tea Party extremists. We're not going to win this issue just by feel-good talk. We're going to win this when we show that there is a political pain and a political cost for opposing action on climate and clean energy. And that's why right now the most important fight is actually in California, where Texas oil companies and corporate polluters are funding Proposition 23 to roll back California's landmark climate and clean energy law. And billionaire Meg Whitman, she spent $120 million. She's trying to beat environmental champion Jerry Brown for governor. She wants to suspend that law, the climate law. And Carly Fiorina is trying to beat climate champion Barbara Boxer, and Fiorina wants to shut down the climate law. So we all need to pitch in to kill Proposition 23 and win all of those fights and as many others around the country as possible. The stakes could not be higher in this fight. We're fighting to preserve clean air and clean water for our children. They're fighting to preserve profits for polluters. We're fighting for the clean, safe energy of the 21st century that never runs out, and they're fighting for dirty, unsafe energy from the 19th century that cannot sustain the human race. We fight to stop sending $1 billion overseas every day to buy foreign oil, and they fight to keep us addicted to oil, addicted to fossil fuels, addicted to destroying a livable climate for our children. We're fighting for the EPA, and they're fighting for environmental destruction. If we lose this fight, nobody's going to write a book about us called The Greatest Generation. I have a 3-year-old daughter. She doesn't vote and she doesn't lobby. So I'm going to have to keep fighting until carbon pollution stops going straight up and starts going straight down. Will you join me? Thank you.